The news reviews are: Horrifying forest fires in Portugal leave at least 62 people dead. London Grenfell Tower Fire, at least 79 people are dead. Twin terrorist attacks in Iran. Let's watch the stories. Around 1,600 firefighters have been desperately battling wildfire that broke out in central Portugal early Sunday morning. At least 62 people have been confirmed dead, many of whom were burned in their cars as they tried to escape. Forest fires are common in the Iberian Peninsula during the summer months, but today's example is particularly extreme. Portugal's Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, told reporters that this is the greatest tragedy we have seen in recent years in terms of forest fires. At least 60 separate fires have been identified and 11 districts are being monitored. The Pedrógão Grande area, in particular, was hit hard and required the efforts of around 900 firefighters. Many homes have burned, but the largest death toll occurred on a road between Figueiró das Vinhas and Castanheira de Pera. Authorities say that at least 30 people died along the densely forested. No foul play is currently suspected. A dry thunderstorm is believed to have been the initial cause of the disaster. The area is experiencing a brutal heatwave with temperatures hovering around 104 degrees Fahrenheit. With no rainfall, a lightning strike likely set off the blaze. President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa tells the New York Times that firefighters are facing a perfect storm of temperature, wind, and zero humidity. In recent years, Portugal has experienced numerous wildfires, but none like this. In August of last year, the island of Madeira was devastated by a fire that killed 3 people and more than 1,000 had to be evacuated from their homes. Leaders from around the world have expressed their condolences and the government has declared 3 days of national mourning. In the middle of the night, while most residents were sleeping, a devastating fire started at Grenfell Tower in London. The emergency response was rapid and robust. More than 200 firefighters attended the scene, with assistance arriving just 6 minutes after the first calls were made. British officials said emergency accommodation was being provided to 44 households affected by the fire, with others staying at a nearby sports centre. At least 79 people are dead or missing and presumed dead following the fire that tore through the 24-story Grenfell Tower in London, police have said. Metropolitan Police Commander Stuart Cundy told a press conference Monday that only 5 victims have been formally identified so far, and the death toll may change. Sadly for many families, they have lost more than one family member, said Cundy, who added that the painstaking search and recovery operation is proceeding as quickly as possible, but may take many weeks. Cundy explained that one of the reasons identification has been so difficult is because dental records are needed from victims who hailed from different countries around the world. However, 5 people who were originally reported as missing have since been found safe and well. The police chief, who went inside the charred shell of the high-rise tower over the weekend, told reporters, "I've investigated major crime for most of my service and I've seen some terrible things, but I don't think anything prepared me for what I was going to see when I was in there." The government has promised a public inquiry, and police have opened a criminal investigation. Cundy said the complex and exhaustive inquiry will focus on a range of issues including how the building was constructed, a recent refurbishment of it, how it is managed and maintained, and fire safety measures. Speculation has focused on the role that cladding apparently used in a recent refurbishment of the tower may have played in the fire. A senior UK government minister said Sunday that he believed the cladding is banned in Britain for buildings above a certain height. "My understanding is the cladding in question, this flammable cladding which is banned in Europe and the US, is also banned here," Chancellor of the Exchequer Philip Hammond told the BBC's The Andrew Mair Show. So there are two separate questions. 1. Are our regulations correct? Do they permit the right kind of materials and ban the wrong kind of materials? The second question is, were they correctly complied with? Hammond said that will be a focus of the inquiry and investigation. Ryden, the company that carried out the recent refurbishment, said the project met all required building regulations. Authorities have also faced questions about why the block, built in the 1970s and home to 125 families, was never fitted with a sprinkler system that might have saved lives. I would like to reassure everybody that we will be looking at all criminal offences that may have been committed by any individual or any organisation, said Cundy. Britain observed a moment of silence at 11 a.m. Monday in remembrance of the victims. It was joined by firefighters from stations across the country. A vigil was held in Parliament Square in central London Monday evening. Conservative Prime Minister Theresa May has announced a fund of £5 million, $6.4 million, to help those affected by the blaze. May has faced criticism for failing to meet survivors in the immediate aftermath of the disaster. On Saturday, when she did meet residents, she said the response to the fire had been not good enough. On Monday, when asked if the Prime Minister thought her own response was good enough, a Downing Street spokesperson replied, "The Prime Minister has a job to do. You heard ministers talking over the weekend, who are always in close contact with her. She was focused on making sure there was a task force up and running, getting that done." Twin attacks on the Iranian parliament, and Ayatollah Khomeini's mausoleum in the capital, Tehran, have killed at least 12 people and injured many more. After hours of intermittent gunfire, officials said both incidents were over, and the attackers were dead. The Islamic State, IS, group has said, it carried out the attacks, which would be a first in Iran. Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards accused Saudi Arabia and the US of being behind the attacks. This terrorist action, coming 1 week after the meeting of the President of the United States, with the leader of one of the region's reactionary governments, Saudi Arabia, shows they are involved in this savage action, it said in a statement. The U.S. State Department condemned the attack, saying the depravity of terrorism has no place in a peaceful civilized world. President Hassan Rouhani said, Iran's message was that terrorism is a global problem, and he called for regional and international cooperation and unity. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khomeini said, the attacks would have no effect on the country. In a statement, ISS warned of further attacks against Iran's Shia Muslim majority. Iranian authorities denied that there had been a hostage situation inside the parliament building. Reports said, the gunmen had entered parliament via a public entrance, dressed as women. Security forces surrounded the parliament, and TV footage showed people, including children, escaping from windows. Iranian media later reported that 4 attackers inside the parliament building had been killed by security forces. At the mausoleum in southern Tehran, which is dedicated to the Islamic Republic's founder Ayatollah Khomeini, attackers began their assault by opening fire. The governor of Tehran said, one attacker there had detonated a suicide vest, and another had been killed by security forces, state broadcaster IRIB reports. It is not clear whether the death toll of 12 includes the attackers, or whether the victims were killed at both incidents or solely at the parliament. About 40 people were injured in the 2 attacks, according to Emergency Services Chief Per Hossein Khalivand. Iranian officials say they managed to foil a 3rd attack. ISS said it had carried out the attack, and later posted a video which showed what it claimed was footage from inside the parliament building. A voice is heard saying, in Arabic, "We are not going anywhere. We are staying forever." An Iranian MP later confirmed that the video showed his office, and one of his employees lying dead. BBC Persian's Jenny Norton says, that despite Iran's active involvement in fighting ISIS in both Iraq and Syria, the Sunni group has not until now carried out any attacks inside Iran, and appears to have little support in this predominantly Shia country.